Hello and welcome back to Bite Size Boxing. Apologies again for the wet hair look and the general tired look that I've got going on. Literally this is just another on the fly impromptu video just before I shoot off to work. So I've just jumped out the shower, and regarding the tiredness, it's about 30 degrees here in the UK and we don't have any aircon. So about 4 hours of sleep. So if I'm a little bit more stuttery and sort of not quite as on the ball as I normally would be, I apologise. So just want to get into the main subject of this video, and that is Boots Ennis officially announcing on his Instagram his highly anticipated move up to £154. This is a move that I think a lot of people speculated was a case of when, not if. We all knew it was coming, and I think generally this is going to be a really good move for Boots. Let's not forget that Boots turned over at the age of 18 and he turned over at welterweight. And I'm sure any of you guys know, if you're in and around my age, I think Boots is maybe a little bit younger than me, but we're a similar age, and I weigh substantially more, probably about 7 kilos more than I did when I was 19. If I tried to get back down to the weight that I used to be at 19, I'd end up in hospital. So the fact that he is still fighting at the same weight that he turned over at is really indicative of just how hard the weight cut must be. And I think that's really shown in his performances, particularly in that second Chikadzian fight. When you compare the Boots that fought Chikadzian the first time, he was so much more sprightly, he had so much more energy. And the problem with Boots is that Boots' whole style is based around his athleticism. So if you're draining yourself to make weight, if you're struggling to make weight, what that's going to do is that's going to negatively impact your athleticism, as it very clearly did. And I think fight by fight, over the last, I want to say, 18 months, 2 years, Boots has looked worse and worse, with the exception of the Stanionis fight. Now, why did he look substantially better against Stanionis? Well, I think there's a clear reason for that, in my opinion, and that is because, obviously, Boots was the IBF champion, and the IBF make you adhere to a very stringent check weight the day of the fight, where you can't rehydrate above a certain level. Now, because it was unification with the WBA, that wasn't in place. So that rehydration clause, as it essentially is, Boots didn't have to adhere to. And as a result, he wasn't as dehydrated. And you saw in his performance, he looked sharp, he looked more sprightly. And he got Stanionis out there in the mid-rounds. And he looked very good doing it. And that was the best we'd seen Boots look for years. So, moving up to £154, what awaits Boots? I'm just going to look at some of the names in front of me here. Yeah, of course, you've got Murtazaliev, who I think is a fantastic fighter. Took apart Tim Tszyu in double quick time. Murtazaliev is a problem. You've got Virgil Ortiz, of course, as well, awaiting him. You've got the likes of Xander Zayas, Israel Madrimov, Burshuk, Fundora, Lubin, Tszyu himself. It's a stacked division. It's probably one of the most stacked divisions in boxing, so I don't think things are going to get much easier for Boots, but I do think Boots at his best may be able to pick up a belt. I think he should be able to pick up a belt, actually, because I think Boots is a very good fighter. That being said, there is one thing I would say, and that is that if you look at Boots' frame, I actually don't think he's going to be at 154 that long either. For me, he's built like a 160-pounder, and I think he could very easily move up through the weights. So I think eventually we will see Boots land at 160. So I actually think this might be a relatively brief stay at 154 pounds. Don't get it twisted. I'm not expecting him to move up, have one fight, and then move up to 160. But I do think that his stay at 154 will be relatively brief. I think he will be going up to 154. Of course, the IBF will probably rank him as a result because he hasn't lost in the ring in their top 10 at 154. So he may get a title shot within a fight or two. I can see him fighting for a belt, maybe unifying if his body allows it, and then going straight up to 160. And I think in the long run, as I did say, I think he will ultimately land at 160. Now, this isn't necessarily straightforward. When you look at the 160-pound division currently, other than Janabek, it does look it's pretty clear, isn't it? There's not a whole lot going on, let's be honest. You've got an ancient Erislandi Lara still hanging around and is relevant in that division, which really speaks to the level of the division. But that being said, you would imagine that as Boots does step up to 160, by the time he's ready to, there will be a lot of these killers at 154 pounds who will also be waiting in the wings to move up as well. So he might not find it easy. I expect Boots to not remain unbeaten as he goes through this run through the weights, But let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Take care. Cheers.